our friend and colleague Jim Campbell about his book all about Bernie Madoff. I mean, you just hear that name, and it's becoming one of those names that associated with nefarious deeds. And the author of Madoff Talks, the untold story behind the most notorious Ponzi scheme in history, which could be described as a Madoff scheme now, Jim Campbell. Hey, nice to have you back with us. How are you doing?
Hey, Bruce, it's always my honor, and the WADK, our favorite affiliate, really, and honored to be on every day at 1 o'clock, Monday through Friday.
You bet.
And let me give season's greetings to all our good friends in the Newport area. Even though we bring white-collar crime, it's a fascinating book, and the Netflix series is fun to watch. But it's good to be on with you again, Bruce.
Well, it's always great to catch up with you, and you just have the best guests, and you ask the questions that we all want to ask, and it's always great to listen to you at 1 o'clock every day here on WADK. So we hope you'll keep up the good work. So you've been quite busy with this book and with the Netflix series, Madoff Talks, and it is really an insider account of the Madoff saga. There was just an anniversary of the whole Madoff situation. Was it when he was caught?
Yep, always on the December of 2008 when the whole thing came down, the $65 billion scam. And as I've said, it is a great story as well as a morality tale. Good for students on up through adults. And, we're going to give the station a couple signed copies they're going to give away to the loyal audience.
Nice.
And it's a great Christmas holiday gift. You can get it online at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart.com. Madoff Talks book is our website. You can get it through there as well. We'll send anybody a signed book plate to insert in it. And it's a lot of fun to read. And as I'm sure Bruce has mentioned before, it's been made into a Netflix docuseries, Madoff, the Monster of Wall Street, 4-part episodes. It is excellent, by the #1 Netflix true crime director, Joe Berlinger, who's done stuff on Whitey Bulger, Jeffrey Epstein, Ted Bundy. So either the book or the Netflix, you'll enjoy them. Do them both, and it's a good holiday gift as well.
It is. It really is a page turner, no doubt. And not to be a spoiler, but even through the book and through the docuseries, the questions remain. How did he get away with it? I guess that's the big question. Are we any closer to knowing how he got away with it? Because I guess once we know the answer to that, we can keep it from happening again.
Well, unfortunately, you can't repeal human nature, but they have the book details for the first time how the government, the SIPC, which is the reserve fund similar to the FDIC when banks go down, the Wall Street hedge funds, how they all completely screwed up, sometimes turning willful blindness, sometimes just pure incompetence. The SEC had 5 separate investigations and never even uncovered he had a hedge fund, really, which is where the Ponzi scheme occurred. He had a legitimate business that was worth $3 billion, but the SEC couldn't figure out how to get to the Ponzi scheme. The book also tells you, for the first time, independent source on whether the Madoff family, Ruth, Mark, and Andrew, knew. When I started my research, the FBI, the Department of Justice, the Southern District of New York, the bankruptcy trustee, the media, all said that they had to know. Well, in Chapter 8 in my book, I come to a conclusion about that question. And of course, I had a lot of extensive access to Bernie and Ruth and Andrew, although my investigation obviously was independent of them.
Sure.
So there's also that kind of a page turner in it. What did they know? When did they know it? Did they know it? And then, of course, how did the whole industry completely miss it?
Well, absolutely. And how did he pull the wool over so many individuals' eyes? I listened to an interview on the anniversary of when he was caught earlier this month, and this woman, and your heart breaks for this woman whose family fortune, and not even a fortune, it was savings, was just gone, disappeared, swallowed up, and she was as disbelieving as anybody. She was just beyond disbelief that this could have happened. So did he have that kind of captivating charm that we find at the heart of these folks who do these kind of things?
People want to believe too good to be true. And they want to be able to get into clubs that they hear about. And he was brilliant, particularly in the Jewish community, of which 85% of the investors were Jewish in the charities, that there was this inherent trust that he was as secure as a treasury bill. We don't know how he's doing it, but he's our guy. And and he's hard to get into. He had it set up brilliantly, like, I've got too many people. I don't need other people, and all that did was create more and more and more demand to get into him. And so he was kind of like a Wizard of the Oz behind the screen. And people were dying to get into it. They didn't understand what he was doing. I never found people that understood what he was doing, even though it was conceptually very simple and impossible. And it's just over and over. And you talk about sad stories. One of my worst is this gentleman in the British Army who fought in all their wars in the Baltics and Middle East and everything. He retires in December of 2008. He puts his entire retirement into Madoff. And 3 weeks later, and he thought it was, not only thought it was secure, the hedge fund he bought it through was in a building in Austria that was 500 years old. So he's thinking this is a 500-year-old bank, everything's secure. And of course, it was not that at all. Only it opened in 1990s, and loses all his money. 3 weeks later, this is a war hero. He shoots himself in the head in a park in London. And that's the kind of stories that are almost endless in going through this tragedy. And, history repeats itself, because you think, how could this, this will never happen again? Well, we just had the FTX crypto crash last year. And that was the same kind of thing, in that this charming guy, SBF, with his little shorts and curly hair, looking like he was just one of us, and that he was willing to say crypto needs to be regulated, all these nice words, unlike most of the crypto guys. And he was doing one thing that was exactly the same, which was he was using customer money and mixing it in with the business. And that is a huge no-no on Wall Street. And that's, of course, what Bernie was doing, was taking customer money and funneling it at the back door of his legitimate business. Yeah,
you're so right. And Sam Bankman, I call him Sam Bankman. I didn't invent that, but same thing. His girlfriend defends him to the hilt.
Yeah, and in many ways, this guy SBF did worse things than Madoff, which is kind of hard to believe. Yeah. And his whole story is, the dog ate my homework. I don't know how it happened. I didn't really know what was going on. And oh my gosh, I don't know where it disappeared to. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, he was having the computer programmed to divert money without being detected into his own hedge fund. And that's, of course, where all the problems, where he probably manipulated his Bitcoin currency, not to get too technical, but that's something Madoff would never have done. In his legitimate business, he never did any playing around with the legitimate trades or anything. I don't have much sympathy for Mr. SBF, and he's going to get a very, very long sentence, because he was dumb to try to go. Why that guy went to trial, I will never know. And
that is still alive. We just had a discussion with a local risk manager for a credit union here in Newport. And the Bitcoin frauds and the crypto frauds are happening on a local level. And it has to do with some dating type apps, or, those types of things. So it's appealing to people on that level, on that emotional level, which is going back to SBF, going back to Madoff. This is what they did. Yeah. It was an amazing.
Let me tell you what Bitcoin is a confidence game, which is a nice way of saying con. There's no value to that at all, except what the perception is. And every time the perception is that there's nothing there, it crashes. And that's exactly what's been happening.
No, it's so true. Madoff Talks, Jim Campbell, our colleague. So how is it, let me ask, not only with these people, because you got to talk to people nobody else did, but you tend to have these interviews with these folks, and you always have a great get list. How did you get started, and how did this become apparent that you really were able to talk to all of these amazing people all over the world in many walks of life?
Yeah. I get people joking sometimes, hey, you have to be in jail to get on Jim's show. Well, we had Elliot Spitzer, the first interview with Elliot Spitzer after he resigned. We had Dennis Kozlowski, who was the CEO of Tyco, at that point one of the fastest growing companies in prison. He ended up doing 10 years in jail. We just had an interview with Melissa DeRosa, who was Andrew Cuomo's top right-hand aide, Secretary of the State of New York, first woman ever to have it. And that was also a fun interview. She was a very fascinating woman, very strongly defending.
I was just going to say that same MO here. She's defending this guy. Oh, he couldn't have done that. He was misunderstood or whatever. Unbelievable.
She's going to run for something too.
Was that right? Oh wow.
Yep, she's going to. She wants to get back into public service.
Oh, man. Well, we're going to give away a copy or two of your book, Madoff Talks, autographed by Jim Campbell, and we'll announce how we're going to do that in the next little while here. Jim, tell us again where the book is available, how we can get it, and how we can get an autographed copy. Great.
Yeah, thank you very much. Again, it's good holiday gift. Available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart.com. Madoff Talks book.com is our website where you can not only get it, but you can contact me to ask for a signed book plate, which you just peel and insert right in the book, and we'll sign it off to whoever you want to. And so, tune in to WADK to get the free shots, and then consider getting it for a gift for someone. I guarantee you, especially, it's a great book. It's a fun read, and it's a good morality tale if you want to give it to your college kid as well, for instance.
Don't let this happen to you. Jim Campbell, all the best to you and your family and everybody at your organization, and we hope to talk to you again in the new year, and we'll hear you at 1 o'clock this afternoon.
Okay, Bruce, thanks for having me on. Happy holidays to you. You guys do a great job. Love Newport. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Come and see us, Jim Campbell, and you hear him at 1 on WADK right here. Now, WADK's exclusive VD Mercedes-Benz, VD Volvo Cars of Tiverton Bridge Traffic Report. And things are favorable there. Nobody trying to con you out of anything there. You've just got a bit of a slow ride here. It's extended.